CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. The U.S. Navy apparently considering renaming some of its ships, including one honoring San Francisco civil rights leader Harvey Milk. CBS News has reviewed documents from the Secretary of the Navy that shows the military is recommending renaming a series of ships. And one of them is USNS Harvey Milk. You might remember, here she is. The ship was christened and launched in 2021. It's an oiler that delivers fuel and supplies to Navy ships at sea. And she made a stop in San Francisco to much applause, because she's named after the former San Francisco supervisor, Harvey Milk. Also earlier had served in the Navy, and he did receive an other than honorable discharge after facing charges of homosexual behavior. After the Navy, Milk opened a camera store in San Francisco, and the rest was history. He was elected to the Board of Supervisors in 1977. And then in 78, he was assassinated at City Hall. It was in 2016 that Milk was selected, along other civil rights leaders, to have ships named after them. It was part of the John Lewis class of oilers. Other ships in that class were also listed for recommended renaming. They include ships named for labor rights activists Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, along with ships named for Harriet Tubman and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. San Francisco Representative Nancy Pelosi has called the move shameful and vindictive. Memo obtained by CBS News says the renaming was to align with the Trump administration's policy of, quote, reestablishing the warrior culture. Meantime, the Trump administration is threatening legal trouble for California public schools if they do not ban transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports. The Justice Department has given school districts until Monday to notify the agency in writing that they plan to comply. Justice Department says allowing trans athletes to compete is unconstitutional. President Trump weighing in on social media last night, criticizing California for allowing a trans athlete to compete in the girls' state track and field finals. He threatened large-scale fines as a result. All right, to our first alert weather now, as we take a live look outside over the city of San Francisco. A lot of people might call this a sweet spot in terms of temperatures. Meteorologist Zoe Mintz says a look at our forecast.
Yes, that is the perfect way to put it, because the word normal is honestly pretty boring, because the boring weather pattern is going to stick around. But that means great news for anyone that has any outdoor plans, as those typical June conditions are upon us. This morning we saw that June gloom to kick off our day. This was our view from on top of Mount Diablo, where yes, there was a lot of fog, but that fog quickly lifted when the sun rose. We're seeing plenty of sunshine. The only place that is still looking at a bit more of that marine layer is, of course, closer to our coastal communities. You can see on the other side of Sutro Tower on the western half of San Francisco, there is still a little bit of that fog that's holding on tight. Temperatures, though, are warming up to nicely above average, or at least slightly above average for our inland areas. We'll be in the mid-70s right now. We're sitting in the mid-to-upper 60s across places like Santa Rosa and here in San Francisco. And by the afternoon, again, we are going to continue to see our high temperatures warming up to seasonable, within a degree or two of average. And I'll let you know how long these typical June conditions will stick around for coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
A grass fire that scorched 62 acres in Fairfield is now 75% contained. It broke out west of I-80 along Vista Grande yesterday afternoon. The flames were near homes at one point, prompting evacuations. Those have since been lifted. But when emergencies and crashes happen, firefighters are often the first ones on the scene. Now, one Marin County Fire Department has a new tool to help them respond even faster. Kara St. Cyr explains how they are using all of our phones to help.
With several years on the force, Captain Dean Riddle knows that seconds are a matter of life and death.
You know, nowadays with the cars and how they're built, cars are designed to be quiet on the inside, so that way you can hear what you're doing, what you're listening to. Unfortunately, they're so soundproof that a lot of the outside doesn't necessarily come in.
Although state laws mandate motorists move over for emergency vehicles, firefighters often push through congested roads to get to an emergency situation.
Emergency vehicle reported ahead.
But a new tool could help pave the way. The Southern Marin Fire District now has the Safety Cloud, an alert system that notifies drivers when an emergency vehicle is nearby.
And it was reported by a Haas alert 48 seconds ago.
All Riddle has to do is switch on his lights.
The Haas alerting system is tied into this system here. So once we turn the lights on, it will automatically activate the alerting system.
Apple Maps, Google Maps, and cars made in 2018 or later will get a notification, providing time for the driver to pull over.
Seeing it happen in real time is a definite benefit for us. You can tell when people have a little bit of a heads up that we're coming because they could be 2 or 3 cars ahead and they're already starting to pull over.
Fire Chief Chris Tubbs says the technology can help save lives.
This is about trying to increase the safety to our firefighters who respond to our emergencies, our law enforcement officers, and the highway workers who are out there with us on those motor vehicle accidents.
The safety cloud is already installed, and the lights, they're ready to go.
Really neat actually to see it happening in real time.
With a safer route for everyone.
So the alert system gives drivers a 30-second warning when an emergency vehicle is coming. Now to some of the other headlines we're following today. All lanes back open on eastbound 580 in Livermore after a deadly crash involving a motorcycle and a big rig happened between Airway Boulevard and Isabel Avenue, tying up the morning commute. Traffic moving again after a major backup yesterday on the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. Caltrans issued an emergency closure after noticing chunks of concrete breaking off the upper deck. It was caused by a pothole that was about 3 inches wide, but deep enough to slice through the upper deck. Crews made quick repairs, and officials say the damage was isolated. The Union for VTA's bus drivers and rail operators will vote on a new contract offer today. VTA says that offer includes a 14% raise over 4 years, more health benefits, and new workplace policies. An update on that firebomb attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect's family has now been detained by ICE, and they are set for expedited removal from the country. That is according to Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She says Solomon is an Egyptian national who is in the country illegally after overstaying a work permit. He's facing numerous charges, including attempted murder and hate crime for an attack that injured a dozen people. Police say he was motivated by anti-Semitism. Well, this just in, Elon Musk going off on President Trump's so-called big, beautiful budget bill. He just posted on X, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Well, now it is the Senate's turn to work on that massive budget package. The president says he wants it passed by July 4th, but he needs to get more Republicans on board. At least 3 have expressed concerns about potential cuts to Medicaid. And Kentucky Senator Rand Paul says he cannot support the bill in its current form, claiming it will explode the debt.
It's just not a conservative thing to do, and I've told them I can't support the bill if they're together. If they were to separate out and take the debt ceiling off that, I very much could consider the rest of the bill.
President Trump spent Monday speaking by phone with some of the concerned senators. Senate Republicans can only afford 3 no votes if all Democrats oppose the bill. Taking a check on Wall Street right now, the Dow is up about 200 points. That comes as the number of available jobs in the U.S. unexpectedly increased in April to an estimated 7.4 million. There was also a sharp increase, though, in layoffs. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. A challenge for members of the LGBTQ+ community. We are looking at housing discrimination and one program here to help in San Francisco. This Pride Month, we are highlighting the triumphs and challenges affecting our LGBTQ+ community. One of those struggles can be finding housing in San Francisco. Suji Nam introduces us to William Anthony, who says he was facing housing discrimination until the Abode program stepped in.
I live in this kitchen. So I cook here, I do a lot of baking. It's really fun.
William Anthony moved into this apartment in San Francisco 2 years ago, and he loves it.
This is where I'll answer emails. I use my laptop to edit short films and school projects, also to get paperwork done for work.
He's a paraeducator for the San Francisco School District and is also studying cinema in college.
This is for Special Olympics. This is some of my students got these awards.
Anthony said, however, his journey getting here wasn't easy. After his brother passed away, he moved to Brazil to be with family. But with unforeseen circumstances, he accumulated debt. In hopes for a better future, he moved to San Francisco. But Anthony said, as a gay man with a disability, his housing search was a struggle.
Being profiled, having people automatically assume I'd be a nightmare tenant, having people just like make assumptions about me.
But he found help.
Cool. Yeah.
Julia Parmer is the senior program manager for Abode, a housing nonprofit that serves low-income and unhoused families.
We got him plugged in with a service coordinator, a case manager, and a housing specialist.
Anthony is one of more than 2,500 Abode clients receiving housing resources. But while he got the help, that's not the case for many others. The city faces a crisis with the unhoused in the LGBTQ+ community. According to the San Francisco 2024 homelessness point-in-time count, 28% of the more than 950 people surveyed in the homeless community identify as LGBTQ+. And the statistic is higher for the unhoused youth. 38% identified as LGBTQ+ and younger than 18 years old.
A landlord might just look at the application and say, forget it. And so that's sort of where we come in, is we build those partnerships with landlords out in the community so that we know who we can go to, and we sort of have a stock of housing.
But through programs like Abode, community members are helping more people like Anthony get the help they need.
They were a blessing. I feel like God sent them for me.
Abode helped pay off Anthony's debt and moved him into his apartment. That's now become a safe space where he shares many laughs with friends.
Don't let labels define you. We are so much more than whatever group society puts us in.
Anthony says he is grateful for the help and plans to pay it forward.
Back to our first alert weather. Taking a live look outside from our Mount Diablo camera. Let's check back in with meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
Well, it looks lovely out there. Any outdoor plans that you have today, no weather issues to worry about on this Tuesday. And if you don't have any outdoor plans today, you might want to make some outdoor plans later this week, because these typical conditions are going to stick around throughout the rest of the day, into tomorrow, and into the rest of the week, really. High temperatures are going to be in the mid to lower 80s across our inland East Bay communities, and down in the Santa Clara Valley, we'll be in the 70s for areas around the bay. But the closer to the coast you get, the more you're impacted by that onshore flow. And the 60s are going to be in store for us if you are planning on heading to the beach, and even mid-60s here in San Francisco and over to Oakland, as the onshore winds are going to create a bit of a cool down, especially if you are directly in the area of the Golden Gate. That's where we are expecting the strongest winds to kind of be funneled through. It's really interesting that you can see those strongest winds funneling through the Golden Gate, and then as they make their way farther south into the bay, they really significantly calm down. And that's the reason that temperatures are significantly warmer the farther inland you go and the farther south you go. So North Bay community is going to be very similar to what we're feeling here in the peninsula and San Francisco. Once you head over across the Bay Bridge, heading over towards Oakland, that's where you start to see those even warmer temperatures, and then past the Oakland Hills, even warmer. But the biggest heat up is going to be across our inland East Bay communities, where we are going to be seeing the least impactful of those onshore winds. That marine layer, though, still staying strong, as we're looking at those onshore flow coming in from a storm system that's sitting directly to our south. That storm system not bringing us anything in terms of moisture, just a little bit of that fog in that marine layer, and it's keeping our temperatures within a degree or two of seasonable for this time of year. Really nothing to worry about if you have any outdoor plans today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. In fact, Saturday and Sunday, it might even be warming up even more, mid-80s returning to the forecast. So it's been kind of a roller coaster of weather over the past couple of weeks, and it's really nice to finally see things settling down, calming down, and a really lovely first full week of June is ahead of us. Back to you.
Thanks, Zoe. Still ahead, you get on an airplane, you sit down, and you might wonder,
what happens if I don't put my phone on airplane mode?
The reality is,
we are going to get the answer to that question and how many people are not following the rule. Well, on just about every flight, passengers are told to put their phones in airplane mode. That turns off a cell phone's radio frequencies, stopping its ability to make and receive calls, texts, or sometimes use the internet. The problem is, a survey found that 40% of people do not put their phone on airplane mode while on a flight all the time, and 17% say they never do it. Well, the law states the FAA and FCC ban cell phone for airborne use because their signals could interfere with critical aircraft instruments. So what happens if you don't put your phone on airplane mode?
The reality is not much. There is some interference if the cell phones are closer to the flight deck, but it's minimal. It's just a small buzzing sound apparently in the headsets of the pilots and the flight crew. Anything that's going to be altering their sensation is going to be a detriment to the safe flight. And the sense of hearing is certainly an important one.
Still, we know pilots use headsets to talk to the flight crew, attendants, and most importantly, air traffic control. And when a plane is closer to the ground during landing or takeoff, phones not in airplane mode could get a call, and that would trigger that noise in the pilot's ear. We'll be right back. We have our eye on two baby eaglets in Big Bear, California, as one ventures out of the nest and the other hesitates. Sunny and Gizmo, they're two baby eagles who have survived a harsh winter and will soon be ready to leave the nest. Sunny has already taken flight, her first flight, there she goes, though she's still hanging out nearby. Her little sister Gizmo has not taken the leap just yet, but bird watchers say it could be any day now. That is it for the news at noon. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Just go to Live and then choose Bay Area.